Chapter 91 Renhuang Pen, I just want to keep a low profile. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sound of the system kept coming from the mind until the upgrade was finally successful. Tian was a little curious, and was about to ask the system what is the god-level calligraphy and painting mode. The calligraphy and painting mode opened by the previous system is already extremely against the sky. Although it is not as good as the perverted calligraphy and painting talent of this sage of calligraphy and painting, it is far beyond his imagination. As long as it is in terms of calligraphy and painting, you can perfectly reproduce it and turn it into your own use just by taking a look at it. Such an ability can be called against the sky. Now that it is upgraded again, I don't know what tricks it can make, which is really curious. The system starts to introduce immediately. God-level calligraphy and painting mode. If you write with the help of gods, the strokes are full of Taoism, and the heaven and earth follow each other. If you use your cultivation, you can create different small worlds according to your cultivation. And, except for the cultivation base, there will not be many restrictions. When you cast it, the Tao rhyme will follow you. When the talent is activated, the host is the true sage of calligraphy and painting. Xuanhuan is simply weak compared to the host. The system is full of enthusiasm, and you can hear how excited he is from the system notification tone. It seems that he can't wait to prove himself. Tian sighed inwardly. This system is competitive, and it's nothing more than jealousy, but it's still a glass heart. You can't take even the slightest blow, or you'll escalate like crazy. How can you let him keep a low profile in the future? Master, please hurry up. Let me also see the new model of the system. Tian smiled wryly and shook his head. At this moment, Xuanhuan's brushes were put away, and the long picture scrolls belonging to fengshui danqing, as well as the illusory world constructed from it, also returned to nothingness. Everyone opened their eyes again, and they had already returned to the pavilion in the center of the lake. Young master, how is your calligraphy and painting skills? I don't know. Can you get into the young master's eyes? Xuanhuan said. It seemed that he was asking, but in fact he was very confident. With his head held high, he is very confident in his own strength. As a master of painting and calligraphy of a generation, known as the sage of calligraphy and painting, mastering the ultimate way of painting and calligraphy, in this eternal fairyland, there are few people who can surpass him. The illusory world shown just now is exactly his special skill. I was already fantasizing in my heart that this child would worship him crazily later, crying and begging him to be his teacher. Thinking of this, the corners of her lips curled up slightly, feeling extremely proud. He also took a fancy to this child's talent, and believed that he could definitely inherit his calligraphy and painting skills in the future, accept him as a disciple, and take advantage of the opportunity to make friends with the Wangui family. This kind of good thing that kills two birds with one stone happened to happen to him. It's really God's blessing. As expected of the rumored generation of painting and calligraphy masters. That's right, I didn't invite him back then. It is indeed because I am not qualified to teach Nishang. Just now I seem to have integrated into the world of landscape calligraphy and painting. I have learned a lot, and my cultivation seems to have improved a little bit. Huang Ruoshi's long scarlet hair flowed down like jumping flames, her eyes were like red jewels, she gently covered her mouth and nose. I have heard of the name of the most holy calligraphy and painting before, but now I have seen it with my own eyes, and it is indeed a man who is worthy of his reputation. Qinglian was wearing a fringed dress, with a dignified and elegant figure, a beautiful face and a calm expression. But deep in his eyes, there was still a trace of shock that could not be erased. The world of painting and calligraphy just now has actually improved her cultivation a little bit, and she has a new understanding. I just don't know. Is the little master satisfied with him? The supremacy of calligraphy and painting is indeed powerful, but it is hard to say whether he can become the guide of calligraphy and painting for the little master. After all, the growth of the little master does not need to be taught, because there is no one to teach. They are not worthy. Hearing the praise of Tian's two little maids, Xuanhuan suddenly felt that he was better. Hold your chest up, smile all over your face. Like a spring breeze, the spring breeze is proud of the horseshoe disease. However, after waiting for a while, Tian has not yet heard the approval. Immediately, I was a little puzzled. Could it be that this little brat has been so shocked that he can't speak? Looking back, He found that Yi Tian seemed to be thinking about something. The two big eyes are extremely bright, wandering around, coupled with that white and chubby little face, it is even cuter. Immediately reacting, he said to the sage of calligraphy and painting, "The way of calligraphy and painting of the master has reached perfection, and future generations are only worthy of admiration. However, I also want to test whether I have the talent in this area, otherwise I'm just wasting master's time." Yi Tian said with a serious face. Tian nodded upon seeing this. It is rare to see such a bright child who can think of others. He is very satisfied in his heart. If he is talented in painting and calligraphy, he will also accept this apprentice and train him. He will definitely be a great talent in the future. And Yi Tian was also straightforward, reaching out to make a move. The two maids, Xuanhuan and Qinglian, were still at a loss and didn't prepare writing and ink for them in advance. This was their dereliction of duty. However, Yi Tian was not waving to them. Of course he was asking for pen and ink from his commander. The system understood immediately, and in an instant, a pen and a piece of paper appeared on Yi Tian's little hand. The sky pours paper. Human emperor pen. The moment he saw the pen and paper again, Xuanhuan's eyes widened and he looked closely at Yi Tian. He didn't think these two things belonged to Yi Tian himself. In this way, it can only show that the god Emperor Yi Junlin really dotes on his only son, and gives him all good things. For example, this day's paper is made of special materials, and it takes 5 years of hard work to refine a single sheet. There is also the Emperor's pen, which is the magic weapon of the god king. Even the two little maids looked at each other. When did their little master own these things? Why didn't even their personal maids know? Yi Tian didn't dawdle, picked up the Renhuang pen and turned it around, feeling very playful, then spread out the sky paper and prepared to create. I just rolled my eyes and couldn't figure out what to draw. Although he has this strength, he doesn't want to be so high profile. Directly use the pen in your hand to break open the sky and evolve a world of calligraphy and painting, which will be regarded as a monster. At only 4 years old, he has reached the accumulation of countless years of others, which is simply absurd. And, a little bit of a hit too, in case even Xuanhuan, the most holy calligraphy and painting, is hit by himself. He will never dare to show his holiness in front of others in the future, so he can only try his best to keep a low profile. System. Do you still want to keep a low profile? Wait until I agree. Suddenly, I saw a few lotus flowers on the surface of My Lake, which were extremely eye-catching in the clear water and blue sky. Okay, it's you. Yi Tian waved his big hand. His eyes were shining like stars. He already knew what to create. The lotus flower is a sacred thing, and it is the most suitable for creation. I love the lotus that comes out of the mud but not stained, and the ripples are clear but not demonic. Chapter 92 One Paper Lotus Flower Picture, Triggering Visions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan and the two little maids were extremely concerned, but they didn't dare to come forward to disturb them, to make room for them, waiting for Yi Tian to pick up calligraphy and painting and create miracles. The fragrance of lotus is fresh and elegant. If there is nothing there, it is like a silk thread contaminated with misty mist, bathed in the lingering teasing, pouring down a deep admiration and boundless reverie. Yi Tian mentioned the Renhuang Pen, and the runes were branded on the Renhuang Pen, shining brightly, like a divine object. This is the magic weapon of the God King. Using cultivation bases to forcibly activate the magic weapon of the God King can suppress and kill monks under the realm of the God King. Now that it is used for writing and painting, even the most holy Xuanhuan secretly feels that the Yi family's financial resources are so strong that it is unimaginable. The magic weapon of the God King was just being played with in the hands of a child at will. The three of them thought that Yi Tian was going to be serious about painting and calligraphy. So they stared closely, feeling very nervous. Xuanhuan and Qinglian also wanted to know whether their little master had the talent for painting and calligraphy, and whether they could achieve something in painting and calligraphy, especially Xuanhuan, wishing to put his eyes on Yi Tian, and Yi Tian looked at the lotus in the distance, looked at Qingji, his eyes were shining brightly, immediately began to draw. The speed is extremely fast, it is difficult to see clearly with the naked eye. Looking at such a messy painting method, Xuanhuan sweated secretly. It is really not flattering. This, how can there be such a painting method? Calligraphy and painting, such a sacred and supreme thing, how can it be so profane? It is an insult to calligraphy and painting. The more I looked at it, the more frightened I became, even I didn't dare to do so. The more Tian painted, the happier he was, he even showed his white teeth and laughed. It turns out that calligraphy and painting are so fun. Hearing what Tian said, Xuanhuan suppressed the anger in his heart. He is the young master of the Yi family. He must not be messed with, absolutely must not be messed with. Xuanhuan's face turned black. It would be fine if his painting skills were confused, but he didn't see any seriousness in him at all. It seemed that he was just playing. Huang Ruoshi said resentfully, "Is the little master not serious about painting? The painting method is so messy, and the speed is so fast, there is no rule of thumb at all. It seems to be playing." Su Qinglian also nodded. Her face was a little tangled. Apparently, he also saw that the little master was just playing around, and wasn't serious about calligraphy and painting at all, but the sage of calligraphy and painting is still nearby. Isn't it a little disrespectful to act like this? However, Tian didn't notice the strange eyes of the people around him, and continued to cheer himself up. The emperor brush in his hand kept waving, and finally rose up, and he stood up directly, grasped the emperor brush as if holding a sword, and started to draw. Little did they know. Xuanhuan beside him had already clenched his fists, clenched his teeth, and was enduring. This is the way of painting and calligraphy that he loves. This little brat is so frivolous and doesn't respect it at all. Draw it. After a while, I heard Tian finish drawing, and the child raised his waist, as if he was very satisfied with his masterpiece. As the voice fell, Xuanhuan and two maids were about to step forward to check. Above the sky, there was a sudden sound. Before the three of them had time to react, they saw the lotus picture that Tian had drawn just now, blooming with extremely bright brilliance, just like the sun, connected with the sky, the earth and the sky. The runes circulated, shining brightly, illuminating this world, and at the same time, there was a sacred aura flowing out, which was extremely coercive. This is... Xuanhuan's eyes flashed. This situation has only happened once since he learned the art of calligraphy and painting, that is, the calligraphy and painting that I made, in the dark, connected the avenue of heaven and earth, thus arousing the vision of heaven and earth, and even the avenue must witness the masterpiece. Above the 9-day sky, the voice of the Tao appeared, as if preaching, so that everyone had an epiphany and improved their cultivation. Then with a bang, the sky exploded, the void twisted, and a lotus flower supporting the heaven and earth emerged from the vast void, which was extremely magnificent and spectacular. The lotus leaves shone with coquettish light, crystal clear and bright, just like gems, which made people fascinated. The rhizome of the lotus is also like a giant pillar supporting the sky, standing upright, exuding coercion, and the breath of the ancient prehistoric rushes towards the face, and this scene was also noticed by everyone in the Wangui family. Isn't that the direction of the palace where the young master is? The vision of heaven and earth manifested, and the phantom of the lotus flower appeared, as if it was about to break through the world. Could it be that the young master has made a breakthrough? Or has he learned a new supernatural power? Since the birth of the young master, our Wangui family has never stopped, attracting attention. Ha ha ha, the prelude to this golden world was kicked off by the young master. Not surprising, not surprising. Many Yi family children guessed that looking at Tian's direction, they were also longing for it in their hearts. When will they catch up to the young master's level? Even if it's 1%, no, 1,000th, it's not worth living. Some elders of the Yi family were also shining brightly, with smiles all over their faces, the corners of their mouths reaching to the back of their ears. Our eternal Yi family has a young master, and we will be able to suppress it for a lifetime in the future and achieve the pinnacle. You can also arouse the visions of heaven and earth with your gestures. The young master's achievements are limitless, at least at the height of the current patriarch. Several branch elders chatted and laughed with each other, and there was no shortage of words of praise for Tian. They even made a plan, and when the work at hand is done, they will lead the Tianjiao of their own line and send them to learn from Tian. Even if you learn some fur, it will be useful for a lifetime. And after the phantom of the lotus slowly dissipated, the picture of the lotus was also injected into the pattern of the avenue, and slowly fell into Tian's hands. Young master, let me have a look. Tian couldn't wait, and his breath was short of breath. Tian is now 4 years old. According to the senior members of the Yi family, he has never touched the art of calligraphy and painting before, that is to say, the first time he did calligraphy and painting, it triggered the vision of heaven and earth, and created a masterpiece that even Taoist had to witness with his own eyes. Such talent is simply unprecedented. Even if he is compared with it, he will be left far behind, and it will be difficult to flatter him. This is the true calligraphy and painting arrogance. Throughout the ages, there may not have been such a person. Seeing the excited appearance of Tian in this picture, Tian yelled in his heart, "Could it be that I'm being high-profile again?" That the lotus picture in his hand was also seen by Tian and the two maids. With the flickering of divine light, he finally revealed his true figure. This. Tian was at a loss for words. His breathing became more and more rapid, and the light in his eyes became even brighter. Genius, genius, this is a real genius. That the lotus flower painted by Tian seems to be reflected from reality. It is extremely fresh and tender, and the lotus leaves are flexible. Through heavy silt and deep water, it highlights the nobility, freshness and beauty of life, the heroic appearance and charm, which make people linger and forget to return. The colorful and full of vitality, definitely worthy of the name of a masterpiece. Chapter 93. Ashamed of myself, my best friend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is simply a masterpiece in the painting and calligraphy world. Even Tao must be witnessed with your own eyes. Since I stepped into this art of calligraphy and painting, I have never seen such a masterpiece. Tian said in admiration. His eyes were shining brightly. He still seemed dissatisfied. He directly put the lotus flower picture in front of his eyes and looked at it carefully, wishing to stuff it directly into his eyes. He is the sage of calligraphy and painting, a master of calligraphy and painting of a generation, and has an amazing talent in calligraphy and painting. When he was young, he was discovered to have a talent for calligraphy and painting, so he focused on cultivating it. But, when he was 4 years old, he was only interested in calligraphy and painting, and it was impossible for him to reach the level like Tian. That is to say, Tian is the one in a million, no, the one-of-a-kind calligraphy and painting genius. The fact that I was able to construct a fictional world with only the way of calligraphy and painting has something to do with my cultivation. But based on what he saw before him, he dared to conclude that if Tian's cultivation base was sufficient, coupled with his understanding of the way of calligraphy and painting, he could do much better than himself. Compared with this kind of genius, it is simply a dimensionality reduction blow. Tian couldn't accept it in his heart. I came here to teach others the way of painting and calligraphy, but as a result, at the age of 4, he has an unparalleled talent for calligraphy and painting, which is much better than myself. At only 4 years old, he created such a masterpiece, and even Taoist witnessed it with his own eyes. A vision descended from heaven. For a moment, I couldn't accept it in my heart. What qualifications does he have to be the guide of such a genius? The dignified calligraphy and painting are the most sacred, a generation of calligraphy and painting masters, but they will also have such a feeling of inferiority. If he becomes the guide of a genius like Tian, he will probably be ridiculed by the entire eternal immortal realm. He is not worthy at all. The beautiful faces of Huang Ruoshi and Su Qinglian were full of surprise. Although they don't know the way of calligraphy and painting, the little master writes, and every move is full of Taoism, as if he was born with the Tao. Moreover, the pictures made actually triggered a vision of heaven and earth, and the heaven and earth avenues must witness it, and according to their life experience, even those grand masters may not be able to summon the visions of heaven and earth with these talent avenues of piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting. It's like Xuanhuan, the sage of calligraphy and painting in front of him, but it's a little bit worse. It took such a long time to achieve a generation of masters, but it was only a summoning of the vision of heaven and earth. What they had thought before was really good. No matter who it is probably not realistic to guide the little master in some aspects. The little master has created countless miracles, and he is simply an Almighty God. Let him make alchemy, and he will be a heavenly pill. Let him practice swords and learn peerless swordsmanship at a glance. Let him practice and reach the top of the list of eternal physical bodies. Let him paint and write, and the lotus picture summons the vision of heaven and earth. And that chubby little face, as well as that sparkling young body, are simply adorable. If he grows up, coupled with that ethereal temperament, he is simply a male god that everyone is looking forward to. Su Qinglian walked up to Yi Tian's side with her slender legs, hugged him up, and kissed her little face. While you are still young, kiss more, and when you grow up, there will be too many Ying and Yan around you, so there is no chance to do anything. But, with the growth of age, the little master's little bird is also growing up slowly. Just like his talents in all aspects, scary. Sometimes Su Qinglian thinks that such an astonishing young age, if she grows up completely and becomes the great Kunkan, plus the physical body of the eternal leader, the two personal maids are probably not enough to be tossed about. Young Master Yi, you haven't been exposed to the way of calligraphy and painting before, but even though he already had the answer in his heart, Tian couldn't help asking. He really wanted to hear Yi Tian say it himself. He couldn't believe that there was such a genius in the world. If someone once told him that there is a child who is 4 years old, he can draw a masterpiece that summons the vision of heaven and earth, and let the Tao witness with his own eyes, he would definitely scoff at it, be extremely disdainful, and even think that the man was daydreaming. As a master of painting and calligraphy of a generation, he knew how outrageous this was, and it was impossible to achieve it, but now, he saw it with his own eyes, which shattered his previous worldview in the field of calligraphy and painting. I'm only 4 years old. I didn't know about calligraphy and painting before. Why, is calligraphy and painting difficult? Or is it that my painting is too bad? Yi Tian touched the back of his head and said with a smile, he looks very cute, but the words were astonishing, and the words were too shocking. Hearing what Yi Tian said, Xuanhuan immediately felt that his practice of calligraphy and painting all these years had been practiced on dogs. After wasting half his life, he successfully summoned a vision of heaven and earth in the field of calligraphy and painting. As a result, Yi Tian summoned the vision of heaven and earth for the first time, and it was extremely magnificent and the scene was grand. Even after seeing the masterpieces he created, he would be ashamed of himself. This kind of tianjiao is simply appalling. It shouldn't exist in this world. If other tianjiao who are learning calligraphy and painting know about it, they might collapse on the spot and drop out of school, still learning a hammer, working hard for half a life, still not as good as a first-time creator. My lord, I have a merciless request. Can you give this picture of lotus to me? I want to decorate it in my calligraphy and painting hall. Observe and emulate every day, learn the deep Taoism hidden in the painting every day, appreciate it every day, and at the same time remind yourself that there are people beyond people, and there is a sky beyond the sky. Xuanhuan asked cautiously, as if he was a little worried about whether Yi Tian would agree. He couldn't help but blush a little. After all, this is his holy calligraphy and painting, and he was a little ashamed to ask others for calligraphy and painting for the first time. A generation of masters still licking their face, asking for a child's painting. It is a bit embarrassing, but he really didn't want to miss it. Such a masterpiece, even if you let outsiders know, it's okay. Anyway, you got a big deal. Then give it to you. Yi Tian's face was full of indifference. Just now he just drew it with 2 random strokes, and he didn't take it seriously. If he is willing, he can draw so many pictures in one day, no problem. But Xuanhuan, as if he had obtained a treasure, carefully put the lotus flower picture into his space ring, and heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you, young Master Yi. My young master's natural talent, I am ashamed of myself. But ask yourself, there are certain achievements in the field of calligraphy and painting, not as good as you and I. From now on, we are best friends who have forgotten the years. In the future, we can talk more about the way of calligraphy and painting. Xuanhuan said again, seemingly asking, but there was a hint of pleading in his tone. What? Yi Tian didn't realize it for a while. The dignified calligraphy and painting are the most sacred, and he wants to become best friends with him. Chapter 94 The Essence of Life, Calligraphy and Painting Ceremony. Seek to follow up, vote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A majestic master of painting and calligraphy of a generation wants to become best friends with a 4-year-old boy like him. This situation is a bit too unbelievable. In the records of eternal immortal domain, there are not many. The young master is no surprise. As the saying goes, heroes don't ask where they come from. Young master's talent is not only the first in the body of the ages, but now it shows the supreme talent of calligraphy and painting that has never been seen before or since. It is also a great honor for me to be my best friend with the young master, Tian said excitedly, his expression full of anticipation. There was light in his eyes, as if he couldn't wait to make friends with Tian Babai and marry Jinlan. Tian took 2 steps back, seeing Xuanhuan who was so excited, he felt a little scared. Just now, he had the image of an outsider. After seeing his amazing talent, he wished he could become a brother with this 4-year-old child. I was already low-key enough just now, I just drew a picture. If it directly shows the god-level calligraphy and painting mode, and then cooperates with the Renhuang brush in the hands, it will directly create a small world of calligraphy and painting. Doesn't the calligraphy and painting master in front of him want to recognize his father on the spot? Fortunately, I have the foresight. I have been very low-key just now, and I have not shown too much talent. System, yes, what you said is correct, you just tried it with a sledgehammer. If the system had an image, he would definitely roll his eyes. As the host, I pretended to be a coward invisibly, but the eyes of the 2 maids also gradually became wrong. Huang Ruoxi and Su Qinglian looked at each other with a smile, the corners of their lips slightly raised, and their gem-like eyes flickered, as if they had some good idea. Their little master is really not simple, although it is only a mortal body, it is a peerless arrogance that is unique in all ages. The talents in all aspects are directly full, and it is simply the atmospheric level of the eternal immortal realm. And Huang Ruoxi wore a long red dress, flowing down like flames, her red eyes, extremely alluring, staring closely at her little master. She also knew that there was still a fairy bone in the little master's body, but when this piece of fairy bone swept the list of the eternal body, even the current patriarch of the Yi family, the god Emperor Yi Junlin, didn't notice it. It is enough to show that there is a more mysterious power in the little master's body, which shields this fairy bone, and even the strongest monks in the heavens and worlds cannot detect it. In this way, there must be a big secret for the little master to be in the body. As for physique, anyway, she didn't believe it was a mortal physique. There may even be some kind of extraordinary physique that is unique in all ages, but it is shielded by this mysterious force, so it looks like a mortal body. It seems that the little master has a lot of secrets, and now she is the only one who has discovered it. A plot instantly popped up in my mind. Hey, little master, you don't want your secret to be known by others, do you? Thinking about it, Huang Ruoxi's saliva almost flowed down from the corner of her mouth. After reacting, he wiped it off immediately, with a serious expression, watching how Tian treated this master of calligraphy and painting. After all, Tian is a master of calligraphy and painting of a generation, the supreme and holy person who entered Taoism through calligraphy and painting, although there is no comparison with the Yi family, but if you can make friends with it, you will definitely get a lot of benefits. Although Tian didn't like this 3 melons and 2 dates. And Tianjing was caught in a tangle. Did he really want to marry Jinlan? But he is only 4 years old now. This Grand Master doesn't know how many years he has lived, and you can't live for tens of thousands of years, right? When the 2 of them swear, they only want to die in the same year, the same month, and the same day. It's scary to think about it. Tian quickly shook his head, and Xuanhuan was also very excited, and instantly thought of what this little boy Tian was worried about. Young master, please don't misunderstand. How could this old man make such a joke? As long as there are more exchanges between you and me, and some conclusions and discussions on the way of calligraphy and painting in the future, we can be regarded as close friends. Today's Xuanhuan has been completely overwhelmed by Tian's talent. The address for him has changed from young master to you. This is real recognition, real respect. Okay, but don't come to me usually. As the young master of the Yi family, I work very hard, and I have very little free time on weekdays. Tian pouted and said, very cute. Hearing Tian's words, Xuanhuan immediately understood, and felt a little distressed. After all, the Yi family is the #1 family in the heavens. As the young master of the Yi family, Tian must be very busy on weekdays. At only 4 years old, he has to learn various avenues, various theories, and the prototype of supernatural powers, and occasionally temper his body. In addition, the head of the family is the god emperor of the world, so he has high hopes for him. I was able to have some conclusions with the young master about the way of calligraphy and painting today. probably because the young master took time out of his busy schedule. Tian decided in his heart that if he came to ask for an introduction in the future, he must make an appointment as soon as possible. As for Huang Ruoxi and Su Qinglian, they heard Tian say that he worked hard and so on. I always feel that something is wrong, but I can't find the fault. Are you trying, really working hard? He sleeps hard every day, supplements nutrition hard, chats with cats and dogs in his spare time, teases the beauties around him, or rides on the body of a little dragon, and goes out to be a little devil in the world. In this way, I really worked hard, but I can't say in detail in what areas I worked hard. In that case, young master, this is a gift prepared by the old man for you. Seeing that Tian agreed to his request, he was willing to study together in calligraphy and painting in the future, as the most sacred of calligraphy and painting, a big man at the level of a master. How can he be rigid and petty? Immediately, with a big wave of his hand, the interspatial ring shone dazzlingly, releasing light. A thick book immediately appeared in the void, floating up, covered with runes, releasing the unique charm of the landscape. It seems that the fortune of heaven and earth is integrated into Dashang, and the way of calligraphy and painting is integrated into judgments. The unique ink-colored text shines on the cover, which is extremely eye-catching. It seems that as long as you take a look at it, you will sink into the world of calligraphy and painting. Is this? Su Qinglian slightly opened her mouth, a little surprised. As the saintess of the Nishang Dajiao, she is naturally very knowledgeable, and she recognized this group of grand ceremonies at a glance. Rumor has it. In the hands of Tian, the sage of calligraphy and painting, there is a grand ceremony created by him based on his lifelong experience in painting and calligraphy, called the Grand Ceremony of Painting and Calligraphy. This book contains the life essence of a generation of calligraphy and painting masters, and it can be said to be extremely precious. On weekdays, even if there is a fellow who talks to him, Tian is not willing to take it out. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is his sweetheart, but today he was willing to send it out, and it was given to a 4-year-old child. This calligraphy and painting ceremony is what I have learned all my life, and it incorporates a unique understanding of the way of calligraphy and painting. I believe that the painting and calligraphy will be helpful to the young master. Please accept it. Xuanhuan's tone was extremely dignified, his face was serious, and there was still a faint trace of reluctance. Since that's the case, hey. Chapter 95, The Hope of the Painting and Calligraphy World in the Immortal Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If that's the case, it's better to obey than to be respectful. Tian also knew that Tian had taken a fancy to his supreme talent in calligraphy and painting, so he had to become best friends with him today. If you don't accept the calligraphy and painting ceremony he made in his life, I'm afraid there will be other gifts. What's more, after all, he is a master of calligraphy and painting, and he doesn't want to disappoint his good intentions. Tian clasped his fists and saluted him respectfully, then gently took the painting and calligraphy ceremony with his fleshy little hands, and put it into his system space. In an instant, the calligraphy and painting ceremony disappeared without a trace of breath. Tian sighed secretly again and said, "The Wanguyi family really value this young master. It is estimated that even the space ring used is a storage thing that I can't touch. It can collect the items in just a moment, and it doesn't even leave the slightest breath. Even the space ring that he, a master of calligraphy and painting, carries with him is not so mysterious." So he became more certain in his heart that Tian's future was limitless, and with the background of the Yi family, he would definitely be able to grow safely and become a giant in a divine way in the future. Moreover, this kid is on the eternal body ranking, and even the eternal emperor has been defeated. No one knows where the upper limit is. Even his god-emperor father may not be able to compare with him. The idea of wanting to hug my thigh tightened even more in my heart. It's a pity that I came here in a hurry today, and besides the calligraphy and painting ceremony I carried with me, I didn't carry any generous gifts, and now I think about it, I regret it. Just like that, he missed an opportunity to curry favor with the young master of the Yi family. In that case, the old man will retire. My lord, keep busy. Tian also knew that it was useless to stay here for a long time, so he might as well be more sensible and leave as soon as possible. Tian nodded, finally accompanied his little maid out for a trip. You can't indulge in that soft big bed every day, and you can't always sleep on the milky snow of your maid, it is still necessary to come out and walk around more, to enjoy the beauty of life, so that it will become more relaxed in the future. With such a mentality, Tian continued to play in the Huxin pavilion with his two little maids, of course, during this period, listening to music, arranging flowers, teasing cats and dogs is also indispensable. Tian has always liked tofu, it's a pity, he is only 4 years old now, and the little bird is not yet fully developed. I can barely eat tofu, and I can't do anything else. As everyone knows, his two little maids are also very careful. Occasionally kiss Tian's little cheek and play with the little meat, but they all enjoy it and enjoy it, it can only be said. The three of them add up to minds. A few days later, the talent of the young master of the Yi family was unrivaled, unmatched in all ages. With a Renhuang brush, he showed his talent in calligraphy and painting to the fullest. Creating a picture of a lotus flower has aroused the vision of heaven and earth, and even Taoist has to personally witness it, which can be described as extremely grand and magnificent. At that time, the grand lotus seemed to open up the world, and the rhizome of the lotus was like a giant pillar in spring, opening up the world and breaking the infinite chaos. The vision of heaven and earth at that time was not only known by everyone in the Yi family, even the many immortal forces in the Tianxian Dao domain are aware of it. It's just, they're used to it. What kind of person is Yi Tian, who has defeated the existence of the eternal emperor, and is at the top of the eternal body list? There are too many legends about him. Isn't it just showing a unique talent for calligraphy and painting now? For him, it's just a drizzle, but there were also elders from the Huangu family crying and crying out for injustice. Why does the heaven favor the Yi family so much? Why does the heaven favor the son of the god emperor so much? God, you are too unfair. Eternal years of the prosperity of the Yi family in the past, and now one generation is stronger than the next, so how can the rest of our immortal forces survive? That this elder is also extremely desperate, because their most proud Tianjiao in this life is also ranked on the eternal body list. This was originally a good omen, implying that the Tianjiao of their aristocratic family can also participate in the great world hegemony and fight for the position of destiny. However, Yi Tian's appearance directly broke all their previous fantasies, because their own Tianjiao is one of the hundreds of Tianjiao at the bottom of the ranking, hundreds of proud It was suppressed by Yi Tian with 3 punches and 2 kicks, and the mark of martial arts was smashed to pieces. And the Tianjiao of their family, at that time, also used the family's secret technique to observe the battle through the infinite void, and then a crack appeared in his heart. He doubted his invincibility. Before, he was full of self-confidence, thinking that Yi Tian was asking for trouble and death. Facing hundreds of Tianjiao alone, he would definitely be beaten to the brim. The result is their physical imprints instead, and there is no scum left after being beaten. Not just their family, there are also powerful people who looked up at the sky and shed sad tears, feeling that their own orthodoxy is hopeless, and if they want to get ahead in the future, they can only attach themselves to the Yi family. Hey, prepare a generous gift, let's go and join the Yi family. Among the many forces, counting on the younger generation but not counting on it, it is the most correct choice to seek refuge in the Yi family. Also, after hearing such weird rumors, the master who started his career in calligraphy and painting, he directly found Tian to testify. How could there be such a monstrous Tianjiao? He simply didn't believe it. They have painstakingly studied for tens of thousands of years, and there is a very small probability of creating a masterpiece of calligraphy and painting that can summon the vision of heaven and earth. Nowadays, a 4-year-old child who has never understood the art of calligraphy and painting before can create masterpieces of calligraphy and painting that the Tao has to witness with his own eyes. Isn't this nonsense? It is simply impossible. However, Tian took out the lotus painting and decorated it in his palace. Brother Zhang, could this lotus painting be created by the 4-year-old young master of the Yi family? That this master of calligraphy and painting was a little awkward in his words, as if he couldn't believe what he saw. This painting of lotus blossoms with a wonderful brush, like a divine brush, and it is full of Tao rhyme, full of the power of the Tao, and the pattern of the law, as if it is natural, without any trace. This kind of masterpiece, even if it is a master like them, it will take countless hours to study and even pay a lot of money if they want to complete it. now Tian said that it was created by a 4-year-old child. He absolutely couldn't believe it, but Tian told the origin of this lotus painting, as well as Tian's creative expression at that time, which was vivid. The master of calligraphy and painting was silent, and then looked at Tian with tears in his eyes. After all, the waves behind the Yangtze River push forward the waves ahead, and a new generation replaces the old ones. Brother Zhang, are we getting old? Useless. Such a talent for painting and calligraphy is simply the hope of the painting and calligraphy world in the eternal immortal realm. Hearing what the master of painting and calligraphy said, even Tian nodded heavily. What this person said is right. With Tian's talent, he can definitely be regarded as the hope of the painting and calligraphy circle of eternal immortal realm. Maybe Tian didn't know it himself, but he had gained another title invisibly, the hope of the painting and calligraphy world in the eternal immortal domain. Chapter 96 3 Years of Retreat, Dafan Buddha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Accompanied by Tian's great reputation in the world of calligraphy and painting in the eternal immortal realm, and the spread of his name, countless immortal forces are also quite concerned about it, wishing to send the crown prince directly into the Wangyi family, and keep an eye on this kid Tian, because they really couldn't figure out why a mere mortal body could achieve such a level. The mortal body. Logically speaking, it should be the lowest existence in all aspects, whether it is the competition of the physical body or the spiritual sea, or the comprehension of the laws of the Tao. There is no comparison with those super physiques. However, Tian is like a monster, full of talents in all aspects, as if he is the ceiling of the younger generation. It's nothing more than refining Tianpin pills at will, and you can learn peerless swordsmanship at a glance. If this is the case, it's fine. But he can still surpass everyone in the way of calligraphy and painting. Even the masters of calligraphy and painting dare not compare with him, feel ashamed and bow their heads secretly. The most enviable hatred is this kid's physical body. Even his god emperor father can't compare. With a supernatural power of 300 million caddies in one punch, people of the same age are as fragile as glass, and can be easily suppressed with one punch. What real dragon unicorn, phoenix basalt, in front of ye. Tian's body. These ancient fierce beasts are as fragile as paper. If they were of the same age, Tian could easily tear up these ancient beasts and use them to make soup. At the same time, in the far west, there is a Buddhist force with the same name as the Great Laying Temple. Dafan Buddhism is also an immortal force. It used to be extremely brilliant, and there was a Buddha who proved the Tao. There was also an ancient Buddha who once saved the world and left behind immortal treasures. In the Western universe, Dafan Buddhism, Dalian Temple, etc. all belong to the branches of Buddhism, and there are many branches of Buddhism, among which there are many powerful ones, but the Golden Age is about to come, and other Buddhist forces have not started to act, but are secretly accumulating power, ready to go, and make a blockbuster. The Great Laying Temple has already been prepared before, and it is now being laid out. As for Dafan Buddhism, it was announced recently that it was born, and it is ready to participate in the great world hegemony. At this moment, on the western border, on a treasure island, the sun is shining, the auspicious clouds are rising, the symbols are emerging, and the golden light of Buddhism and Taoism is shining around, as if it is going to save the world. All those who are illuminated by the golden light of Buddhism and Taoism will calm down and realize Taoism quietly. Close your eyes slightly, put your palms together, and recite Sanskrit. That beautiful head seems to be reflecting light. These are young disciples of Dafan Buddhism. They recite scriptures and practice Buddhism every day. The Buddha's heart is extremely firm, and they firmly believe that if they work hard, they will become the holy Buddha. And in a pagoda, there is a young disciple who is sitting cross-legged and practicing. On the body, golden light shines and runes flicker, like a holy Buddha in the world. Behind the body, there is also a phantom of a big Buddha, standing proudly between the heavens and the earth, as if it is the only master of the heavens and the earth. The Buddha is kind, and the golden light is shining, as if he wants to save the world. However, this young man who is meditating is fierce and domineering, full of energy, like a young King Kong, with his eyes open. A piece of golden light is extremely blazing, like a star. The aftermath waves sweep out, and the space is extremely turbulent. It has been closed for 3 years, and I don't know what happened to the outside world. This young man is a disciple of Dafan Buddha, with a golden light Buddha body. aptitude against the sky, and very strong. In fact, he is the reincarnation of a great Buddha. In this life, he is destined to save all sentient beings and spread the Dharma, so that the great Brahman Buddhism can also develop and grow in the golden world, and achieve supreme immortality. And in this life, he didn't completely lose his memory, but instead had part of the memory of his previous life, which was constantly recovering as he grew older. That is to say, when his cultivation continues to break through and he grows older, the memory of the great Buddha in his previous life can also be fully recovered. This life is not ordinary. In his previous life, he was a great Buddha. For the power of luck between the heaven and the earth, he could feel the flow in the dark, as if it was converging towards the east. Could it be that the destiny of this life is in the east? No, Dafan Buddha quickly shook his head. Even if the destiny is in his direction, he will go against the sky. In the golden age, there is no one in the ages. If you can dominate in this age, then you are truly invincible in the ages. In any case, he also wants to find a living place for Buddhism and promote Buddhism in the future, but he also remembered that before he retreated, a child from the Xuanhuan family came into the world, and he was the son of a god emperor, but it was rumored that he had a mortal body. Immediately, he stopped thinking about it. It was just a mortal body, nothing more than good for nothing, and he had been doing nothing all his life, so he wasn't worthy of his attention. He might as well care more about those difficult sequence children of the Yi family, and the 5 great seed-level geniuses. These are my future enemies. But he has a very good relationship with that arrogant Yi family. Tao and law compete with each other, endlessly, like yin and yang. This time, I still need to go to Wang Guye's house to digest the results of my 3 years of retreat instead of discussing the Tao. After all, the Xuanhuan family, the number 1 family in the heavens, there are too many arrogances who practice Buddhism or Taoism, and they are all first-class geniuses, especially that one, even he has to admire. As if feeling his recovery, a ray of light flashed across the pagoda. The space was distorted, and an elder walked out of it. His body was covered by cassock, but his body seemed to be made of gold, as solid as a rock, as immovable as a mountain, and very powerful. Just standing there, the odor pressure emitted is enough to make people feel palpitations, and they dare not be enemies. After seeing Dafan Buddha, his face softened, and a touch of joy appeared. He smiled slightly, and his cassock shone, and he came to his side. Welcome Master Buddha to leave the customs. Dafan Buddha smiled slightly, stood up, clasped his hands together, and returned a salute. Dare to ask the elder, in the past 3 years since I retreated, has any major event happened in the eternal immortal realm? Dafan Buddha has just left the customs, so naturally he wants to understand the major events that have happened in the past 3 years. After all, nostalgia, singing and hearing flute and fu, is like a lank person in the countryside. 3 years, although it is fleeting. But there has definitely been a major event. I saw this elder, with his mouth slightly open, coming to Dafan Buddha's ear. Back to the Buddha, these 3 years. Chapter 97 The Controversy Between Buddhism and Taoism, Changqing Daozi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? The young master of the Xuanhuan family, that is, the traditional character, actually defeated the Emperor Xuangu and became the top of the list of the Xuangu flesh body. Moreover, at the peak of qi and blood, the strength of the body has reached 300 million catties. One step at a time, as soon as you step into the awakened state, you will directly achieve the 6th level of awakening. This, isn't the elder joking with me? Dafan Fozi said in surprise. His mouth was wide open, and it seemed that he could stuff an egg. The pupils were full of shock, which was too unbelievable, beyond his understanding of cultivation. I am also the reincarnation of the great Buddha, and I have awakened part of the memories of my previous life, but in that distant era, there was absolutely no such amazing talent. What's more, it's just a mere mortal body. Mortal bodies can also kill all directions on the list of eternal physical bodies, and they can even defeat the Emperor of the Ages and become the strongest. The future achievements are simply limitless and unpredictable, and the heights they can reach are absolutely beyond their guess. At the very least, it is the position of Emperor Eternal. However, the elder didn't think it was a big deal when he watched the excitement, and there was a golden light in his eyes, as if he was very satisfied with Dafan Buddha's reaction. After all, my family's Buddhist disciples have retreated for 3 years, and in the previous life, they were also famous Buddhas. Their cultivation base is invincible and unparalleled in the world. Now they want to promote Mahayana Buddhism and make Buddhism flourish. But the ideal is beautiful, but the reality is skinny. On this road, especially in the golden world, when the heavenly chosen fights for hegemony as if the stars are shining brightly, those ancient freaks and taboo heavenly chosen will also be revived one after another, competing for the position of destiny in this life, not only the powerful reincarnation of the previous life, but also those super physiques and invincible bodies. There are too many, so they must not be ignored, and they must have a humble heart, just like the ranking on the eternal flesh-body list. There has never been a change in the ages, but before the golden world really started, earth-shaking changes took place. Even the emperor who sits at the top of the list and has never changed since ancient times, the supreme and powerful man who is so proud of the past and the present, and who is overwhelming the world, has already achieved the existence in the myth, and unexpectedly fell out of the list. The path Dafan Buddha wants to take is too difficult, so difficult that the elders like them can't believe it, and they don't even have hope. Buddha, this is just a drop in the bucket. Did you know that young master Tian, who has learned peerless swordsmanship at a glance, can refine heavenly pills with clay? And, just during the period when you left the customs, the lotus picture he drew casually at the age of 4 aroused the vision of heaven and earth. Even several masters in the painting and calligraphy circles felt ashamed of it. Becoming close friends is only for the sake of being able to sit down and discuss the Tao in the future. That the Buddhist elder clasped his hands together, and said truthfully, his words were astonishing, which made it difficult for Dafan Buddhist disciples to calm down. Even when he said these words, the Buddhist elder's pupils trembled, and it was difficult to suppress the shock. He has also dabbled in the field of calligraphy and painting, but he also knows what the calligraphy and painting diagrams that can arouse the vision of heaven and earth represent. It is a masterpiece that Taoist must witness with his own eyes. If you can have a pair, you can be called a generation of masters in the painting and calligraphy world and achieve a good reputation. How can there be such arrogance in the world? It is simply appalling and unimaginable. Dafan Buddha heard what the elder said, and stood there in a daze, unable to recover for a long time. He is also the reincarnation of a great Buddha, and has part of the memory of his previous life, and the memory is still being awakened. But no matter whether you search through the ancient books or your own memory, you can't find a genius like Tian. It's too terrifying, and it's beyond your own understanding. I can't imagine how such a genius appeared in the world. It just so happens that I need to go to the Xuanhuan family recently, and sit and discuss with that sequence disciple of the Yi family, and just go to inquire about the top of the so-called eternal body list. Dafan Buddha said so. In the eyes, the golden light flickered, and the body was like a diamond, and there were waves, and the space around him was about to be shaken out. Elder, except for the young master of the Xuanhuan family. That annoying guy, are there any waves in the eternal immortal realm now? Dafan Buddha's eyes flashed brightly, as if he had thought of something. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and asked his elders. Reporting to Buddha, that person fought with you 3 years ago, although it ended in a draw. You announced the retreat. He thought that retreat was a sign for the weak to escape. After bidding farewell to his own Taoist sect, he went to travel around the world. According to rumors, in the past 3 years, he has had many adventures in traveling around the world, and his understanding of Taoism has become more proficient. According to a Taoist, he once said that if he fights with you again, their Taoist will definitely win a big victory, and there will be absolutely no tie. That the elder spoke truthfully, and the cassock on his body shone with the light of Buddha, but deep in his eyes, there was a flash of flame, which was his irresistible ambition. The Taoist of Changqing Daozong did travel all over the world in search of opportunities, so as to realize a deeper understanding of the songs of Taoism, but he didn't make a bold statement, saying that he could crush their Dafan Buddha disciples after returning from traveling all over the world. Even during these 3 years, there was very little news about that Daozi, because that Daozi wants to realize the real wandering. Even the guardians sent to him by his own sect are rejected by him, and he is unwilling to let him follow. He wants to be honed between life and death, so as to seek a breakthrough and become a true apex. It's really arrogant, Dafan Buddha shouted angrily, speaking of which, this Daozi of Changqing Dao sect and him are old rivals, the two were born almost at the same time. When he was born, he was surrounded by ancient Buddhas, with the appearance of a great Buddha, with a golden Buddha body in his body, with heaven-defying aptitude, and was considered the hope of Buddhism. As for the Changqing Daozi of the Changqing Dao sect, when he was born, a Taoist appeared and kowtowed to him, as if he was a god, and he also possessed the Changqing Dao body, known as the hope of the Taoist sect. The two of them seem to have gathered the eyes of many Buddhist and Taoist families since their birth. From childhood to adulthood, no matter what they do, they have to be compared together. Therefore, the two often regard each other as their greatest opponents, but Daozi Changqing had a calm mind and focused on practicing Taoism first. For him, a great Buddhist disciple, he didn't seem to take it seriously. Moreover, Changqing Daozi seems to be more detached and refined, with his own immortal energy, like a fairy in the sky. He, a disciple of the great Brahma Buddha, is impetuous and takes the so-called victory or defeat too seriously. 3 years ago, the two had a battle, which ended in a draw. Daozi Changqing didn't care, and started to travel around the world. In order to pursue the so-called victory, he chose to retreat for 3 years. It seems that the two were born at odds. Leave him alone, let's go to Wan Guye's house. That 4-year-old boy is really interesting. Chapter 98 Sequence 9, Go Visit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Look, that's the pagoda of Dafan Buddhism. Dafan Buddhism is also an extremely brilliant immortal force. It was announced a while ago that it will participate in the hegemony of the Golden World. That's right, it is said that among the young disciples of Dafan Buddhism's generation, the most outstanding ones must be Dafan Buddha disciples, with a golden Buddha body in their bodies, and it is said that they are the reincarnation of Buddha. The Taoist of the Evergreen Dao sect is not weak either. With the Evergreen Dao body, the two of them are like born enemies. There was a peerless battle 3 years ago. That's right. According to legend, in that battle, the mountains collapsed and the ground cracked. Both Buddhism and Taoism paid close attention to it. Unfortunately, there was no winner in the end, and it ended in a draw. Changqing Daozi travels all over the world now, and it is coming to an end. Dafan Buddha has been in seclusion for another 3 years. Once he leaves the seclusion, the two of them may have a battle in the near future. Above the blue sky, the pagoda of Dafan Buddhism is galloping between the heaven and the earth, sprinting at an extremely fast speed, as if to break through the barrier of space and go to Wan Guye's house. After seeing the pagoda of Dafan Buddhism, the elders of countless sects and young disciples were filled with imagination. Wait, look, the direction of the stupa is the direction of Wan Guye's family. Really, could it be? Dafan Buddhism is about to take action. Is it to form an alliance with the Wan Guye family? Not necessarily. This pagoda is obviously used by the younger generation for travel, not the high-level Dafan Buddhism. It may be that the Buddha in the rumors has left the customs and asked for money to go to Wan Guye's house. A person with farsightedness could see at a glance that this pagoda is obviously for the younger generation of Buddhist disciples to travel, and immediately thought of the Buddhist disciple who had just left the seclusion. Before retreating, he released bold words to suppress Changqing Daozi after leaving the retreat. Now that he went to Wan Guye's house as soon as he left the customs, I'm afraid it was a big move. Maybe it is to discuss with the younger generation of Tianjiao children of the Wan Guye family, or to discuss together. After all, everyone knows that the ordinary children of the Wan Guye family, Fong is a genius in the outside world, and can become the key training disciples of the major sections. If it is placed in those wild lands, it can even become a generation of overlord, not to mention the arrogant children of the Wan Guye family, and even the top 10 sequences. Each of them has the reputation of being invincible, and they are the best among their peers in the eternal immortal domain, and they look down on the world. There are 5 seed-level talents here, which is beyond what they can say at this level. Everyone is a taboo in the world, with a truly invincible heart. Even if those ancient freaks and taboo geniuses are revived one after another, these 5 seed-level geniuses will not have any worries at all. Instead, he will flex his muscles and make a bad name in the golden world. After all, they are all in their respective fields with supreme achievements. For example, Yi Dan, who is young enough to be called a master of alchemy, in the alchemy world of eternal immortal realm, even those old guys have to respect him very much, possessing the divine body of alchemy. He was once known as the #1 alchemy of the young generation in the eternal immortal domain. The real alchemy masters and those of the older generation can discuss and share alchemy experience with him, of course. That was just the past. Today's eternal immortal realm's #1 alchemy among the young generation, although it has not been officially recognized by the alchemy community in the immortal realm, everyone still knows it. The #1 alchemy of the younger generation today is of course Xiao Tian, who can easily use mud to refine Tian pin pills. A 4-year-old child is so terrifying. In the past year, the alchemy world of eternal immortal realm has not lost olive branches. They and Yi Dan have the same idea, and they also want to introduce peerless talents like Yi Tian into the world of alchemy. Maybe they can refine the mythical elixir and achieve the peak in the future. It's a pity that Yi Tian is used to lying down, and just wants to listen to music and arrange flowers and jade. As for Yi Jianshan, one of the top 5 seed level talents, there is no need to say much. It used to be known as the #1 kendo of the younger generation in the eternal immortal realm, possessing a great and fierce reputation, holding a divine sword, and killing all directions. I am the only one in the sky and on the earth. It's a pity. This is also the past. Today's eternal immortal realm's younger generation's kendo #1. Although there is no official recognition, but everyone has long recognized it, it must be the 4-year-old child who learned the peerless swordsmanship at a glance. Maybe Yi Tian didn't even know that he appeared, and he acted unintentionally, so he snatched away the title of #1 in the younger generation of his own cousin and cousin in their respective fields. Of course, even if you know about Yi Tian, it doesn't matter, pretending to be innocent. What's more, he just wants to enjoy life and lie down. It's all the fault of the system and my cousins, who don't want to let myself stop for a moment. As for the top 5 seed level Tianjiao, the other 3 Tianjiao are all in their respective fields and have the title of #1 of the younger generation. With the passage of time, the pagoda of Dafan Buddhism traveled through space and finally came outside the gate of the Xuanhuan family. For a long time to come, the aura of the Xuanhuan family will become more and more intense. The power of Taoism that permeates the world will exceed our Western universe by an unknown number of times. Feeling the power of law in the void, Dafan Buddha sighed. If they in the Western universe can have such a strong aura of Tao, it is definitely rich in products, complete in laws, and everyone can transcend like a dragon. Immediately, he stopped thinking about it and walked out of the pagoda, entering the Xuanhuan family. It seems that he is quite familiar with this place, and it turns into a streamer. Shuttles between the sacred mountains and treasure islands, with a clear goal. After a while, I came to a treasure island again, with strong aura, auspicious clouds rising, and young elves playing in the mountains and wilds. The ancient beasts roared outside the treasure island, roaring in the sky and the earth, and in the center of treasure island, there is a palace. The whole body is made of divine gold, it is incomparably sacred and radiant, and there is also a large gathering of spirits. The practice here is far better than the outside world. Of course, this palace is definitely not as good as Yi Tian's imperial city. The difference is too much. Dafan Buddhism, Dafan Buddha disciples come to pay respects. Please also invite the 9th sequence of the Yi family to show up. Dafan Buddha slowly bowed to the palace in front of him, very respectful. Ha ha ha, who am I supposed to be? It turns out that I am a disciple of the Buddha. Accompanied by a burst of laughter, the door of the palace was suddenly opened, and a young man came out of it, protected by precious light and flowing runes, like a young god of war, wearing a golden armor. His eyes are staring like shooting stars, his body is slender, his body is filled with fairy light. I don't know if it is an illusion, but on his body, he seems to have the aura of a great Buddha and the light of a Taoist. Walking forward slowly, there is a Taoist chanting Taoist texts on the left, and a big Buddha chanting Buddhist scriptures on the right. The phantoms of the two emerged, enveloping the young man. I'm in a good mood today, so I made a special calculation, saying that there is a nobleman visiting. I never expected it to be a Buddha son I haven't seen in 3 years. Chapter 99 In the Buddhist Scriptures Pavilion, Sit and Discuss the Tao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. His name is Yi Zhou, and he is the 9th sequence among the 10 sequence descendants of the Xuanhuan family. With the holy body of Buddhism and Taoism in his body, he has superb talent, aptitude, has supreme prestige, and can fight across ranks. At a young age, he was able to wander through various secret realms and fight with all kinds of ancient beasts without any fear. According to legend, when it was born, it aroused the attention of both Buddhism and Taoism, because of the sacred body of Buddhism and Taoism. This kind of physique is rare, and there is only one in an era. You can learn Buddhism, Taoism, or both Buddhism and Taoism. Moreover, when practicing both Buddhism and Taoism, one can master all the essence of Buddhism and Taoism. It can be said that he was born suitable for both Buddhism and Taoism. It is also possible to practice Buddhism or Taoism alone, and the speed of practice is several times faster than that of people of the same age. Even Dafan Buddha, who is the reincarnation of the great Buddha, may not be able to gain the upper hand when competing with him. Even when they studied Buddhism together, they had the memories of their previous lives, and they had an innate understanding of the subtleties of Buddhism, but they still couldn't compare to Yi Zhou. Therefore, Yi Zhou is one of the few people who Dafan Buddha admires. Therefore, treat each other with courtesy and dare not disrespect them. He and Changqing Daozi can wrestle arms, but if they want to fight Yi Zhou, they have absolutely no confidence. Since the Buddha came here today, he must have come to discuss the Tao with me. After all, the Buddha has been in retreat for 3 years, and he must have gained a lot in Buddhism. In addition to Daozi Changqing, who traveled around the world, he will soon return to the Tao world. You too, there will definitely be a big battle in the near future. Come to me now, and you can guess your intentions with your knees. After some words, Dafan Buddha had no secrets in front of him. The disciples of the Buddha were a little speechless. They didn't know what to say. They obviously didn't say anything, but they knew it, and they studied it thoroughly. Nowadays, in the world of Buddhism and Taoism, the only one who is recognized as the most potential arrogance is you, the holy body of Buddhism and Taoism. As for the two of us, we are just fighting in your shadow. Dafan Buddha said modestly, with a smile on his face. What he said is indeed true. Yi Zhou is pregnant with the sacred body of Buddhism and Taoism, and has not only been cultivated by the resources of the Xuanhuan family. In the past 10 years, Buddhism and Taoism have also sent him a lot of resources to help him grow. In fact, they all wanted to draw Yi Zhou, a peerless arrogance of both Buddhism and Dharma, into their camp. Among the younger generation of Buddhism and Taoism, quite prestigious, indeed not bad. But in our Yi family, hey, there are more Tianjiao than me. I can't count them with my hands. Yi Zhou laughed at himself. In the Xuanhuan family, the pressure of competition is too great. Like him, the 9th sequence, it seems that the sacred body of Buddhism and Taoism has attracted much attention. Both Buddhism and Taoism want to win him over, and he is also the most potential talent in Buddhism and Taoism, but in fact, among the descendants of the sequence, he is ranked at the bottom, basically the bottom. Not to mention compared with the top 5 seed-level Tianjiao, the difference between the two is too great. They are not on the same level at all. Just like ants on the ground looking at the stars in the sky, there is no comparison at all. What's more, Yi Tianhenkeng, the young master of the Yi family, was born, and he created miracles many times at the age of 4, breaking the eternal record, and even Taoist rewarded him with the barbaric body training technique, the brand new #1 on the eternal physical body list. With a punch of 300 million caddies, is invincible in the same realm, and will be smashed into meatloaf with one punch. If you compete with this kind of Tianjiao, you will be suppressed for sure. At the same time, he secretly rejoiced that he was born more than 10 years earlier, and he was also a child of the Yi family, so he would not be suppressed. Thinking of this, Yi Zhou laughed at himself a little, but he still has an invincible heart. As a Yi family sequence, although he is only ranked at the bottom, but with the holy body of Buddhism and Taoism, you have to work harder, integrate all the subtleties of Buddhism and Taoism into one, and use it for me. Now that Dafan Buddha came here, is it not an opportunity for him? He also knows the identity of the great Brahma Buddha. In his previous life, he was a great Buddha with supreme Dharma. In this life, he wants to promote Buddhism and Dharma. As long as he has the help of Dafan Buddha, he also has the opportunity to comprehend the exquisite Dharma, master it well, and take a big step forward. At this moment, the two of them knew each other. Dafan Buddha came to discuss the Tao because he wanted to use Yi Zhou's unique understanding of Buddhism and Taoism to win by surprise in some aspects, and to be able to defeat the enemy with confidence in the future, especially when fighting against Changqing Daozi. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you be victorious in every battle. With the help of the Buddhist and Taoist holy body, he is confident that he can deal with advanced Taoism. Even if this person travels all over the world and has a new opportunity, he is not afraid, and Yi Zhou also wanted to use the exquisite Dharma comprehended by Dafan Buddha in his previous life, so as to help him go one step further and realize the transformation of Buddhism, Taoism and holy body, after all. Although the Buddha, Tao, and holy physiques are powerful, they must practice both Buddhism and Dharma, and comprehend the mysteries of the two schools, so that they can continue to progress. Therefore, the upper limit is extremely high, and it may not be a fantasy to surpass the children of the previous sequence in the future. If that's the case, then please. The two looked at each other and immediately understood, then it turned into two beams of light, shuttled through the space, and came to a pavilion before long. In front of it is a large pavilion, towering into the sky, and on the plaque in front of the door, there are three big characters written, Dharma Pavilion. The three big characters, shining with golden light, pass through the world, and the runes flash, carrying a supreme majesty. The two looked at each other and smiled, and entered the Dharma Pavilion. In the Dharma Pavilion, there are also disciples of the Yi family studying Buddhism here. After all, there are 10,000 ways in the world, and each way has its own unique mysteries. There are 10,000 ways in the world, pointing directly to the origin of the way. Every way can be learned. Therefore, among the Yi family, there are quite a few people who practice Buddhism. But compared to those who practice other avenues, there are far fewer. Let's start, sit and talk. It's just right. Today I will talk about the subtleties that I have realized in 3 years of retreat with Brother Yi. Chapter 100 Enlightenment of the Dharma, the child sleeps soundly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Anyone who cultivates pure karma must first strictly observe the pure precepts, second must develop bodhicitta, and third must have true faith vows. Precepts are the foundation of all dharmas, bodhicitta is the master of Taoism, and faith vows are the guide before rebirth. With regard to all the Buddha's teachings, there is no hindrance to the mind, to live in the way of all Buddhas, past, present, to live with all living beings, never to let go, just like the appearance of all dharmas, to be fully comprehensible, to cut off all evil, and to be endowed with all goodness. In the Dharma Pavilion, the two chose a relatively open place, sat cross-legged, and discussed the subtleties of Buddhism with each other. The great Brahma Buddha is worthy of being the reincarnation of the great Buddha. He has practiced the supreme Dharma, and in this life, he has a golden Buddha body in his body, so his understanding of Dharma has improved to a higher level. Now that I have retreated for 3 years, I have mastered some of the Buddhist teachings of the past and present, which is extremely mysterious. Speaking out, it is like a brand new perception of Buddhism, which is intoxicating. Even Yi Zhou, who is carrying the sacred body of Buddhism and Taoism, and who is a double cultivator of Buddhism and Dharma, can't help but sigh in his heart when he hears the words, and he pays more and more attention to this great Buddhist disciple in front of him. This person's comprehension of Buddhism is terrifying. Even being able to open up your own path of Buddhism on the basis of the ancients is too terrifying. If it grows up in the future, it must be my great enemy. Yi Zhou said in his heart. A strange color flashed in his eyes. Although he is still not as good as himself in terms of comprehension and understanding of Buddhism, he can still be regarded as a young leader of the generation and will have great achievements in the future. If there is an adventure, coupled with the constantly recovering memory, it may not be able to shock the Buddhist world. And just when Yi Zhou was full of thoughts, Dafan Buddha was still talking freely. He explained all of his exquisite understanding of Buddhism, as well as his insights from the 3 years of retreat, and became more engrossed. Accompanied by the elaboration of the Dharma, Dafan Buddha became more enlightened and more sacred. Invisibly, his own golden Buddha body was also urged out, and the rune imprint was engraved on the outside of the body, emitting a bright golden light. There is a Buddha ring on the back, which makes it even more sacred, and a breath of the great Buddha flows out, which complements each other in the dismissal of Buddhism. Seeing this scene, even Yi Zhou's heart trembled slightly. it never occurred to him that this Dafan Buddhist child now has such a profound understanding of Buddhism, enters the Tao invisibly, and blooms a ray of profound Buddha light. At the same time, he listened to the lecture more seriously, and he could feel that these wonderful words of Buddhism were of great help to him, and he could go further. There was even a slight loosening of the previously stable realm. The Buddhist and Taoist body in the body seems to be eager to try, as if it has received sufficient nourishment. The two sat and discussed Taoism like this, discussing the profound Dharma with each other, and benefited a lot. But at this moment, there was a sound of snoring on the bookshelf of the Dharma pavilion, as if someone was sleeping soundly. And this situation was also noticed by the two of them. After all, I have exchanged Buddhism in an extremely quiet environment before, and I have benefited a lot and made extraordinary progress. But the sound of snoring suddenly sounded in their ears, which made them both escape from the mysterious realm of Buddhism. Who on earth is so bold? How dare you sleep soundly in the Dharma pavilion and disturb others' enlightenment? That Yi Zhou was the first to be unable to sit still. He clapped his hands and stood up immediately. There was anger in his eyes, and a cold light shone on the armor, and the temperature around him dropped a bit, which made people shudder, as if he was angry. Through this discussion, he has gained much more than Dafan Buddha. My own Buddhist and Taoist body has even been greatly nourished and has made extraordinary progress, especially for the use of Buddhist supernatural powers. He can clearly perceive that the power is more powerful than before. But it was suddenly interrupted, leaving that kind of mysterious epiphany state. How can you not be angry? Immediately shouted, who is sleeping soundly in the Dharma pavilion? Isn't he afraid of being punished by the discipline hall? As for Dafan Buddha, the golden light on his body has disappeared, and he has entered the world. In fact, there was a sigh of relief in his chest. Just now, it was he who was explaining the achievements of the 3 years of retreat, summarizing and implementing them. Even after entering the realm of sudden enlightenment, the golden light Buddha body has made great progress, and the so-called supernatural powers of Buddhism, as far as he is concerned, have achieved great gains. There is even hope of breaking through the current realm. However, it was suddenly interrupted. How could it be frustrating? But among the Xuanhuan family, one must keep a low profile, compared with the background behind him, not to mention Dafan Buddhism. Even if many branches of Buddhism are combined, they cannot be compared with the Xuanhuan family, and it is even difficult to see the back. The difference is too great. In fact, the sound of snoring is not too loud, but it is especially harsh in this quiet Dharma pavilion where you can hear the sound of a needle falling. Yi Zhou clenched his right fist slightly. Is this person provoking His Majesty? I yelled loudly, but ignored it, didn't even respond, still slept soundly, and didn't take myself seriously at all. The clay figurine is still a bit angry, not to mention Wangu Yejia, a proud and arrogant sequence genius. Immediately, following the sound, he saw the child on the bookshelf. The skin is delicate and white, and the body is crystal clear like a crystal. She is lying upright on the bookshelf, sleeping soundly and sweetly. It was Tian. Yi Zhou was a little dumbfounded. The person who was sleeping and snoring here turned out to be his young master. In fact, I was startled. The young master was originally a little devil king in the world, and he played wantonly in the area he could explore. Today, he came to the Dharma pavilion, but what about his 2 little maids? Didn't they follow? And in a certain sacred mountain, Huang Ruoshi Qiong's nose twitched slightly, and suddenly sneezed. Who is speaking ill of me? Or is someone missing me? Maybe it's because I've been obsessed with cultivation recently, and I've been busy taking care of my little master. I've worked too hard and haven't had a good rest. Su Qinglian comforted her beside her, her voice soft and extremely gentle. That's right, find time to rest and rest. Before that, let's find the little master first, or he will cause trouble everywhere again. After the words fell, the two of them didn't care about anything else, and shouted around again. Little master, where are you? Come out quickly. Little master, I haven't had any milk today. But the two of them didn't know that Yi Tianjing was sleeping soundly at the moment, and he was still chattering from time to time, as if he was enjoying some delicious food in his dream. My lord, wake up. Yi Zhou felt quite helpless. He was a mere 9th rank, how could he still be angry at the young master? He wouldn't even dare to lend him one guts. after all, the status of the young master of the family is equal to that of the family master. Tian waved his hand subconsciously, didn't care, turned over and continued to sleep. Zhou saw that he couldn't wake up for the time being, so he didn't cry again. Instead, he gently hugged him in his arms and brought him back to his place of discussion. Brother Yi, who is this child?